And I think that one of the things that people need to know about hypnosis is how amazing and awesome it is and how it works. Because people think that hypnosis is something spooky, or they see stage shows, they see things that go on stage, which is all very real, by the way. But that's different than therapeutic hypnosis. And people have a lot of fear. They have fears of being out of control. They have fears of all kinds of things. And hypnosis is a wonderful, very, very effective modality. So I really am very excited about the opportunity to teach you about that. I want you all to just close your eyes for a minute and take a nice, long, slow, deep breath. And I'm going to help you understand right now why hypnosis works. And this is not even the hypnosis part of the program. I want you to just imagine for a moment that you're walking into your kitchen. Now, as you walk into your kitchen, you may perhaps notice the way your shoes sound on the floor. You may notice perhaps the color of the floor. I'd like you to walk over, in your imagination, walk over to your refrigerator. And I'd like you to imagine putting your hand on the handle and opening the door. You may notice the way the handle feels in your hand, or you may notice the color of the refrigerator. As you open the door, although perhaps you don't have one right now, I want you to imagine on the shelf is a lemon. And you may notice the color of the lemon. I'd like you to imagine taking the lemon out of the refrigerator. And as you take it out of the refrigerator, you may notice the way it feels in your hand, either the texture or the temperature of it. I'd like you to imagine bringing the lemon over and putting it on the counter. Opening up the drawer, perhaps you may notice the jiggling sound in the drawer as you open it up and take out a knife. Imagine carefully holding the lemon end to end and make a slice into the lemon. As you slice into the lemon, you may smell it, you may feel the texture of the lemon in your hand. And now I'd like you to put the cut side down on the lemon and make another slice into it. And now, I'd like you to imagine picking up the lemon, putting it into your mouth, and taking a bite. And notice perhaps the saliva building up in your mouth. Okay? Now open your eyes. How many of you actually saw the lemon? Okay. I hate to tell you this, but there was no lemon. But you actually saw a lemon. How many of you actually tasted a little bit of the lemon in your mouth? Good. We call that kinesthetic, when you can feel something that is kinesthetic. And how many of you heard the jiggling of the drawer, of the knife and things in the drawer? Okay, good. So you have to ask yourself, which was the most powerful of all the modalities? And that is probably your preferred learning style. Probably when you were in school, if you learn by seeing, we call that visual. And those of you that saw the lemon are visual people. And being visual for a hypnotist, when you have clients that are visual, that's a gift. Because that means you have a very easy time using your imagination and going into hypnosis, which is really the goal, is for you to be able to go into hypnosis and use your imagination. And for those of you that are kinesthetic, so when you can feel the lemon, or when you can taste it, that says that you learn best by doing. And even though we all learn with all different modalities, as a teacher, I would explain something, and then I would write it on the board, and then I would have my students do something, because I had to be sure that I covered every learning modality. In hypnosis, the words we use are very important. So if you are visual, I would say, I want you to imagine, visualize, and picture something. If you're kinesthetic, I tell you to imagine how that feels. And if you're auditory, more learning by hearing, then I would tell you, can you hear what I'm saying? I want you to hear the sounds that that would make, perhaps when you're at the beach. Or if I had to describe the beach to me, you might tell me that the sand is white. Or you might tell me that the sand is warm. Or that the water is blue, or the water is wet. You would use a word depending on your modality. So the question is, are you ready to change your relationship with food? That's really what weight loss is all about. We are not going on a diet, imperfect. So the words you use are very, very important. And when you go on a diet, your unconscious mind automatically knows it's something you're going to go on, and then you're going to go off. And therefore, that's not the best way to manage your weight. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to teach you how and why to change your relationship with food. What is real food? That's a very good question. And who's in charge of what you eat? Does it matter? If you know what it is, if you could see it, then it's real food. If you know where it came from, you can see that it was a chicken, a piece of steak. If I thought that you would feel better by eating more junk, I promise you I would give you more junk. But I know that that's not what happens. So what are the emotions? These are very popular, by the way. Fear is big. Guilt is too big. And worry is like paying interest on a debt you may never owe. If you can imagine your success. So close your eyes for a moment and imagine that body that you want. Imagine how it looks. Imagine how it feels. It's very important for you to be able to imagine what you want, because you're going to get exactly what you imagine. Because nothing tastes as good as being slimmer feels. Nothing. In fact, after it leaves your mouth and is on the way down the throat, it's already disgusting. You only like it when it's in your mouth. You know, as a hypnotist, there are two words that we completely eliminate in our language. The first word is hope. Because hope means, I don't really believe it, but I wish it would happen. Hope must be faith. You're programmed to fail. Who programmed you that way? Well, we could blame our parents, because sometimes it came from them, because they are programmed to fail. However, sometimes it comes from other places. What gets in the way of you feeling successful? Well, in hypnosis we've learned that there's two motivating factors to all of our behavior. One is to move away from pain, and the other is to move towards pleasure. So everything we do either moves us away from pain or towards pleasure. And how does food fit into that? Do you know that when you think about a food that gives you pleasure, the part of your brain that lights up is the same part of your brain that responds to sex and the sex drive? So when you look at or think about those foods, I've heard people say chocolate is better than sex. But have you heard of the food defect action level list? I bet you haven't. It is the law that says there is a certain amount of rodent hair, rodent feces, and dead bugs that are allowed to be in your food. I found this cupcake that says, eat me. How many of you have foods that says, eat me? It's calling you from the other end of the room. You have something in your freezer. But what if all of your foods were surrounded by disgusting, filthy things like that? What does that do to the pleasure center of your brain? Your goals. Well, what you think about comes about. When you think about what can I eat, and where can I eat it, and when can I stop, and how much. So what do? You become obsessed with food. Do you stop at every corner to fill up your tank with gas? No. You only put gas in your car, like with me, when it runs out. So how do you set your goals? Well, first of all, you have to realize that you create your own reality. Get a clear picture of mind of what you want to create. Remove all your blocks and limitations. Triggers inflammation. Animals that we eat are given steroids and lots of chemicals and hormones. When you eat those animals, you get those things in your body. Why are girls getting their periods now at 9 and 10 years old? Because they're getting these hormones from these hamburgers that they eat. They give these animals steroids, they bulk them up, and then we eat those things, and that's what we become. So all of your thoughts have power, and when you change the way you see something, what you are looking at changes. How do you see your body? Do you see your body as something awesome and wonderful, a gift that you need to treasure and take care of? Or are you feeding your body because you're angry at something and putting poison into your body? The law of attraction says, whatever you think, whatever is going on in your mind is what you're attracting. Do you expect to be fat? Do you think that you're never going to be able to lose this weight? Do you expect to be a failure? Do you expect to be something? Think about all the things that you have expected that have come true. That this is the part that is your conscious mind. Everything underneath is your unconscious mind. Your conscious mind has some very specific jobs. Very, very specific. And it is this tiny, tiny, only 10% of your mind. It is logical, analytical. It says 1 and 1 is 2, evaluates, looks at things. It's responsible for your judgment. This is where your senses come in, you know, you hear things, you smell things, all in your conscious mind. So your unconscious mind is not logical, and it contains all your emotions. All your relationships are all in your unconscious mind. You ask yourself, why does a woman who's in an abused relationship being battered, why does she stay there? Her logical conscious mind says, get out. Her unconscious mind, the other 90% of her says, it's okay, he really loves you, it's going to be all right, if you leave it could be worse, and who wins out? Unfortunately, your unconscious mind does. So what is hypnosis? Well, hypnosis is just a state you go into. It's a trance-like state, like when you're in movies, that you become more open to suggestions. So I use my skills to get your unconscious mind to zone out, like you're at the movies, like you're daydreaming, and then I can talk directly to your unconscious mind, which doesn't know the difference between right or wrong or true or false. So I can tell you you're a non-smoker. I can tell you we'll only eat when you're hungry and stop when you're satisfied. I can tell you that junk food belongs in the garbage and you're not garbage. That will go right into your programming, and will reinforce it and reinforce it. What if I told you to pick up a knife and slice the chair? Your conscious mind would say, wait a minute, I'm not doing that. So your conscious mind doesn't leave, I don't have any control over you. But as long as I'm telling you what you want me to tell you, you're going to be okay. All of your self-talk, the things that you say, things that people say to you that you let in, is like hypnosis. With hypnosis, you can do all of these things. You feel better. You feel like you have control over your life. You can become what you want to become. All your dreams can come true. You fall in love with your life. Why? Because you change the way you think. You change your mind, you change your life. Get rid of all those negative emotions. You feel sorry for yourself. Poor me. I'm not as pretty as her. I'm not as handsome as him. I'm not good enough. Why do you have all that stuff in your head? Get rid of it. They're just beliefs. They're not real. Change them. Now there's some myths about hypnosis. We talked about them. Do I have control of you in hypnosis? No. If I told you to do something you didn't want to do, you'd come out of hypnosis. It's very easy. You're not unconscious. In fact, during a hypnosis session, we talk very often during the whole thing. People come out of hypnosis and say, wow, why did I say all that stuff? I don't even believe I said all that stuff. Where did that come from? It's in there. And of course, people think that you have to be very weak-minded. The truth is, the smarter you are, the more intelligent you are, the easier it is to hypnotize you, because you understand how the mind works. And of course, people are afraid they're going to reveal secrets when they're in hypnosis. The truth is, if you reveal a deep, dark secret, you're lucky, because you are only as sick as your darkest secret. And once they come out, they can't hurt you anymore. And of course, I'm bound by HIPAA, which means I couldn't tell anybody your secrets anyway. Really, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You are already doing self-hypnosis every day, all day. Just usually the negative kind. Every time you say, I can't, I'm this, I'm that, that is negative hypnosis. And examples of hypnosis that we experience all the time, driving in your car, you got to your destination, you're like, I don't remember taking a left or a right, I don't remember turning, that's hypnosis. What does it feel like to be hypnotized? Well, your bodies are relaxed, but not always, and not relaxed. Athletes that go out there, they get in the zone. What does that mean? They go into trance and they go out there and they play their hardest and do the best they can. They're not relaxed, but they are in hypnosis. And how do you reach your goals? You have to believe in them, you have to expect them to work, you have to know they're going to work, you have to be able to imagine it, visualize it. These are all the ways that you get to accomplish your goals. You have a choice. You always have a choice. The wall can be a challenge, or it can be an opportunity. If you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. How do you see yourself?